Good morning, everyone. It's great to be with you. Nice to see everybody enjoying breakfast. Now, each panelist will have 6 minutes to discuss the following questions. Tell us how you began your business. First question. What is the greatest success you've had since you've started your business? What was your greatest business challenge, and how did you deal with it? Fourth question would be, what do you see in the near future for your company's development, expansion, franchising, or something else? Also, what's your best advice for the business owner, attendees in the audience? And after all of these panelists speak, we'll also open up the floor for questions and answers, so please prepare your questions. Let's begin our panel discussion right now. I always love professional chambers because they tell you exactly what to do. Introduce, name, and company of panelists. Okay, follow my script to the T. My favorite is one in a speech that says, in your chamber speech, say something nice about the next person. Today we'd like to welcome Rodney Blevins, our Vice President for Distribution with Dominion Power, Douglas Carter with Davis Carter Scott, Gail Donahue with DeBellis and Ferrara, Jack Shaffrin and Dean Jonas with Jonas and Shaffrin Real Estate, Tian Wong with Lore Systems, Lois Schiff, the Party Portfolio, Eric Weschelblatt with Holland and Knight, and Paul Dente with Dente Global Executive Search.
Dominion Resources I work for is a $28 billion market cap company based in Richmond, Virginia. It's a 100-year-old company, and I did not start it. So part of the business I work in is you're more familiar with Dominion Virginia Power, more specifically the distribution business. As I put it to folks, my job is to keep your lights on. That's what I do for a living. My career at Dominion did not start the way I dreamed it, though. I got the thanks but no thanks letter. And I really started much like a seventh-round draft pick does in a sports arena. A little bit of luck, a little bit of opportunity, a little bit of taking a chance on a job that wasn't the one I expected. All that to say that perseverance is maybe the greatest motivator is when you're told you're not good enough and you have the courage to persevere, and it's worked out well. It's always a good motivator. In terms of greatest successes, I was fortunate to go to work for a company that values preparedness. It matches my skill sets very well, and most of my career advancements came somewhere around incident command roles. So I have, for instance, been in the System Storm Center for every major restoration event over the past, 10 or 12 years or more. Snowmageddon, Isabel, Irene, you can name them now. It's not really those roles where the greatest successes happen. It's the preparedness that comes with us, and I was fortunate to come to work for a company that valued that just happened to match my strengths perfectly. Greatest business challenges. I am both blessed and cursed to work in investor-owned corporate America. Some of the blessings are that many of the challenges the small businesses face, cash flow, access to capital markets, I don't have to deal with on a daily basis. So there is no single greatest challenge. It is the crescendo effect of thousands of little challenges that threaten to drag you away from the purpose that your job is for. My job is to provide reliable power at responsible rates to customers. And my advice to you is never let either a single greatest challenge or the 1,000 little challenges drag you away from your very common sense, simple purpose of what you're doing in your business. In the near future at Dominion, I never thought I would say this when I came to work in the energy business, but this is an exciting place to work now. If you look at our area of Virginia, it is the fastest growing in terms of energy growth area in a 13-state region that stretches from Chicago across the mid-Atlantic. And we're in a build cycle, building new generation, new transmission lines, and upgrading our distribution facilities to be able to meet that demand. It's an exciting time also if you look at just this area and you attach the Silver Line to the Tyson's Corner plan to the data centers that are happening in Loudoun County. It's an opportunity for us it's an opportunity to innovate in a 100-year-old company. an opportunity for us to make sure that the assets we build will provide the reliable service that customers expect over the next 50 years. So exciting times right here in Tyson's Corner. The best advice I can give you as business leaders personally is to know yourself. Know your strengths and neutralize your weaknesses. Surround yourself with people that complement your skills that don't match them. Work on your weaknesses to neutralize them, but fully leverage your strengths. Personally, I wish I was not a crisis commander. I wish I was good at dinner parties, but I'm a terrible dinner guest, unless you have something you want to fix or there's a competition. If you want to have dinner, invite Tim. If you want something fixed, I'll go.
I'm available too. It's
the most important thing, if I could leave you with one thing, is never forget for whom you work. In our desire to prosper professionally, first and foremost, I'm a son, I'm a husband, I'm a father. I work to raise a family. I work to make sure my employees can do the same, and I work to make sure that customers can grow and prosper as well. Don't forget who you work for. Thanks.
Thank you, Rodney. Our next panelist is Douglas Carter with Davis Carter Scott. Please take it away.
Well, thank you, sir. I guess I was a little disappointed when I came. I sort of thought the Millionaires panel was going to receive $1 million check for doing this, and I was really a little disappointed. But good morning, everyone. Doug Carter. I'm the founder and president of Davis Carter Scott. We are architects, land planners, and interior architects, and we actually started our business in Reston in 1968. I was 3 at the time, if anyone's wondering, okay? We have a lot of buildings that are here in Tyson's Corner along the toll road, and so the way that I started was, if you can tell, I'm from across the pond, and I was working in Germany. We won a competition for the Cologne University Medical Center, a 2,500-bed hospital. It was huge. And we didn't know a whole lot about hospitals, so we traveled all over the world, came to the United States, found a hospital consultant here in Washington, D.C., called Friesen International. We dragged him over to Germany for the hospital as a consultant, and he kept on pinging on me, "You've got to come to the United States and work for me." Eventually, I got worn down, said, "Okay, 2 years. That's it. Then I'm back to Germany." That's now 46 years ago. So I sort of got stuck. As I walked in through the door at Friesen's, the first person that I bumped into was Bob Davis. We hit it off, and 1 year later, we had the opportunity to design 2 really large hospitals in New York State. That's how we started, and we've been going ever since. We started small, although fast. We've grown over the last 44 years now. 30 of those years we've been here in Tyson's Corner. If I tell you about the greatest success, I could talk about buildings or awards or things that we've done, but I think the most important thing for us is the team that we assembled starting way back in 1968. And I have to tell you, we're proud of the fact that we've created a really, really fun family atmosphere. And the second guy that we hired in 1968 is still with us 44 years later. We've got lots of people that have been with us 20 and 30 years. And we attribute that to creating an atmosphere where, if we follow our corporate motto, do good work, have fun, make money, if you can. So if you can is key. If you want the greatest success, I say, it's survival. What's the greatest business challenge? Well, if you think about what I just said, in 2008 we had a terrible time, and I know that everybody in this room went through the same time. We got hit viciously by the Lehman Brothers collapse, and out of 124 people, we suddenly had work that stopped dead, and that affected about 30 people. In one afternoon, we let 25 people go, and that was probably the toughest thing that I think I've ever done in my entire business career. And so that for us really is the reason for our success and why it's so painful to do something like that. What do we see in the future? Well, we're lucky, I think. There's always a good chunk of luck as well as hopefully a little bit of management in any successful business. We located here from Reston in 1980, and we just happened to be in the right place at the right time. We've done a lot of business, and we're still doing business with people that we started 30, 35, and sometimes 40 years ago, and they happen to be building the new Fairfax County. So we're looking forward to some great projects, and for the future, we're looking at slow and gradual expansion to get back to where we were. If I were to tell you just these are maybe cliches, but one of our things that we practice every single day is we never do business with people that we're not really good friends with. This is, before anything, for all of us, a people-to-people business, and it's all based on relationships. And you know what? You've got to make up your own mind. You've got to commit to doing your own thing, but the commitment is absolutely paramount. And if you're not committed, your potential clients sense that right away, and they'll go somewhere else. So, another cliche, out of sight, out of mind, out of work. That's the way we run our business. Thanks.
Thank you, Doug. Our next panelist is Gail Donahue with DeBellis and Ferrara. Gail?
Do you want me to read it for you?
Would you? DeBellis and Ferrara is a boutique advertising agency, and we moved to Tyson's from Bethesda a couple years ago. When they called me to do this, I said, well, I better clean up my stories, and then decided I didn't have much time, so I'm not going to clean it up. The first question was, tell us the story of how your business began, and I can say it simply. My business began in the bathtub. I had a hard day, and I thought about the last two agencies I had worked for and couldn't understand why I was working 14-hour days, and my bosses were home buying new cars, taking the summers off, and I thought, wow, I could have that life. So I decided to start my own business. Unfortunately, I still haven't had my summers off, and I don't have a new car. Let me see. My greatest success, I would say, for advertising is I've been in business for 15 years, and in the last 15 years, some of the larger agencies that contract out to a smaller woman-owned business have gone under, and I've survived. So that's probably my biggest success. My greatest business challenge was 2 weeks after I started my own business, I was served with a cease and desist letter from a previous employer who had also gone to one of my clients and said that they were not allowed to work with me. So I handled that the way I do everything, and I handled it very fairly. I went to a corporate lawyer who did me a favor when I explained I just started and had no money, and he said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I know this client through them, but I certainly didn't poach them, which is known in the industry. And I said, why don't you write a letter back and offer her profitability, like a finder's fee? He did that. We never heard a response, and she's no longer in business. In the future, the next question was, what do we see in the future? And in the next 2 years, we're expanding to the Philadelphia area. I should say greater Philadelphia area. We'd like to expand our boutique agency into that area because they have very few small women-owned businesses that do what we do. And the difference between what we do and a larger agency is you work with the people that make the decisions and that can help you instead of being passed down, to the low man on the totem pole. And the last bit, and if my staff were here, they'd be droning right now. There are two things I'm known for quoting, and my best advice to anyone would be, no matter what, you persevere through the face of adversity. And if you never, ever give up, you can never fail.